Hey, what's up everybody? Remi Sovran here from Sovran.com. In today's new video, I have a little important piece of information and advice that I want to share with you guys. And what we're going to be talking about is how muscle imbalances, as they develop, can result in spinal injuries occurring. Specifically, we'll be talking about kind of spinal disc injury, since a lot of my channel is associated around a disc bulge injury or disc herniation. But first, before we jump into it, let's talk about what muscle imbalances are. So when I refer to a muscle imbalance is something where you have one muscle that may be stronger or more developed than an opposing muscle or another muscle within the body. So a good example could be seen within our quadriceps, the hamstrings. Typically you see a lot of people with stronger quadriceps as opposed to hamstrings. The reason for this is just because they may be more of a quad dominant person, whether that's they're doing more exercises in the gym that are focused on quads as opposed to hamstrings. Or another common imbalance you see is front to back, so you have a lot more development and strength within the pecs, the chest specifically, as opposed to the upper back. So a lot of our erectors, our trapezius, our lats, they may not be as developed, and this can result in a muscle imbalance, and it can ultimately result in maybe shoulder issues. Just like when we refer to the quadriceps, the hamstring, that could result in maybe an ACL injury occurring over time. So what ends up happening is as these muscle imbalances develop, they can further increase the injury potential that one may experience. It could increase that potential for an injury to occur if we have all these imbalances occurring all over our body. So the key thing is now that we know these imbalances can cause a lot of issues, how do they specifically develop? Well, they can develop over a lifespan, whether that's we're involved in sports, which you commonly see in a lot of sports. Specifically, look at a sport like hockey, basketball, or even soccer. Take an individual who is maybe dominant, their dominant hand or dominant shooting hand or arm in basketball is their right-handed shooter, whether that's maybe their right-handed shooter in hockey or their right-handed kicker in soccer. So now I specifically talked about this in the previous video about identifying sport-specific postures. But now when you refer to those kind of individuals being dominant on the right side, you're going to think that they're going to get more development with regards to various muscles. So take that basketball player that's a dominant right-handed shooter, more hypertrophy of the chest, the shoulder on the right side opposed to the left. So now we have an imbalance from right to left. So with regards to athletes now, it's a difficult thing to kind of address, because sometimes these postures are what actually is contributing to them being good performers, but it also increases that injury risk as well. So with regards to athletes, it can be a lot harder to address these postural issues. But when we refer to just anyone in the general population, a lot of these imbalances actually occur within the weight room. And when I refer to the weight room is when we look at individuals' workout programs, a lot of people, what you do is, or what you see is, a lot of people will do maybe a lot of bench press. You see a lot of people doing a lot of bench pressing and squatting as their first two exercises. So the way they sequence their exercises is if they're consistently doing bench and squats first on different days of their workouts, those types of exercises are getting the most priority. So if those exercises are getting the most priority, then those muscles are typically going to be developed more so than other muscles that you may be working later in your workout from different exercises. So a good example is if you do a squat first, then let's say you do like a split squat, which is also working kind of your quads, or as a high focus on your quads, and then you maybe do your deadlift third, which is more of a hip movement. So you're working more glutes, hamstrings within a deadlift. Those first two exercises are getting the highest priority. So if they're getting the highest priority, they're going to develop the most. Within terms of those muscle groups are going to develop the most, because you're attributing all your energy, or the most of your energy, to those exercises, so you'll be able to perform better on those as opposed to exercises later in your workout. So like the deadlift may not get as much energy, or you may not be able to lift as much now, because fatigue, metabolic and neurological fatigue, is beginning to set in throughout your workout. Now when we refer to spinal injuries now, what we see is that in the gym is a lot of people are doing a lot of flexion-based movements. So we know how flexion-based movements can cause these disc bulge and disc herniations to occur, because when we do flexion, especially under load, or if we increase the volume, if we constantly increase the volume, we continuously put stress on those collagen fibers of our spinal discs, which ultimately, if we don't recover properly, or we don't kind of counteract that or counterbalance that, then it's only a matter of time until a spinal disc injury will occur. The same can be applied to other sort of spinal injuries, whether you're looking at postural discrepancies. If you look at someone with a scoliosis or kyphosis, so kyphosis being someone with a hunchback, that's when they have that computer posture, the back's always rounded, and they have the forward head posture, and they're always seated, so hip flexors get tight, glutes get shut down, the core kind of gets all weak. You get a lot of tightness around in the shoulders and the pec area, and then the upper back, more of our posture muscles they become weak and whatnot because we're in that position for a long period of time, and we might not be training those muscles. That could also contribute to spinal disc injuries as well, because you're in that kyphotic posture, so your back's rounded. So being in that posture for 8 hours a day can also kind of develop those muscle imbalances as well. And it may not just be in the gym, or it may not be just during sports or athletic activities, but it all depends on kind of what you're doing on a daily basis that may be routine based and is not in balance. So what I'm trying to say is the key thing is that primarily a lot of these imbalances will occur during those tasks, but it's important that you identify those imbalances and know that you're creating them, and develop a proper workout program, strength and conditioning program to address those imbalances. So for instance, if you're someone in that computer kyphotic posture, you're doing that 8 hours a day, one thing you could do is firstly address proper posture, so be in a more upright position so you don't get that slouching occurring. But at the same time, when you go to the gym, when you're working out, you put more priority to training your abdominals, to training your upper back posture muscles, your glutes, and then maybe also incorporating some stretches, maybe stretching the pecs, stretching the hip flexors to kind of loosen up any tightness in those areas. So that's how you kind of have to think about addressing these imbalances. But the key thing is that when you're in the weight room, or when you're doing your workouts or developing a workout program, you have to understand that imbalances are also being created in the weight room, and that you need to address those as you go. So for instance, you need to take in consideration not only the sequence, so how you're programming your exercises, so what's your first, second, third, fourth exercise, and so on as you go through. Secondly, the volume. What is the volume that you're doing? Is the volume equal between different exercises, whether that's your abdominals to your upper back per se? Is everything equal in terms of the volume? What's the time under tension? Is the time under tension similar? So time under tension referring to how long the muscle is working, or how long it's under tension. Then also we can look at the load. What is the load equal or similar throughout each exercises? Because if you look at doing bench press, you can obviously lift a lot more as opposed to doing a vertical press. And so maybe incorporating an extra set to kind of counteract the load from the increased bench press that you may be doing could maybe help address maybe an imbalance within the workout. And then we could also look at how you're sequencing your workouts throughout the week. So typically your workouts earlier in the week may get more priority as opposed to the ones later in the week. So kind of switching your workouts on a weekly basis. So if you're starting with a vertical push-pull on Monday, then doing horizontal push-pull Tuesday, then say lower body on Thursday, switching that on week 2, so then maybe you do your lower body first, and then maybe your vertical push-pull, horizontal push-pull Tuesday, Thursday accordingly. So that's kind of how one may think about addressing these imbalances that can occur, because regardless, imbalances will be created. It's just a matter of knowing that you're creating them and then properly addressing them with a proper or efficient workout program to prevent these kind of imbalances from getting severely out of hand, and to kind of maintain balance as best as possible. Because when we kind of maintain balance, we maintain not only good posture, but we're preventing injuries as well. So by maintaining proper posture, that's preventing things like that kyphotic posture, scoliosis, or pelvic tilts within our pelvis, or whether that's a quadricep hamstring imbalance, whatever it may be. And so ultimately, the key thing is, though, well, like I mentioned, though, is know that you're creating these imbalances, identify them, and then address them accordingly with the right exercises. So referring back to talking about workout programs, one last thing that I want to kind of mention with regards to spinal injuries is that what you see is a lot of people's cores tend to be weak, and abdominal training itself is always sequenced, or the majority of the time is sequenced last in a workout. It gets the least priority. With many people, many just kind of general population individuals, or even athletes, a lot of elite level trainers, they may prioritize abdominals always last. Like I said, if you're always putting abdominals last, prioritizing last workout, then you have all this buildup of metabolic and neurological fatigue. So you're not going to be able to train your abdominals as hard as you may as first exercise, second exercise, third exercise, and so on throughout that workout. So therefore your abdominals are getting neglected. And if your abdominals are getting neglected, you're not putting a lot of effort to strengthen them, then you're going to have a weak core, spinal stabilizers are not going to be as strong, and therefore the injury risk, specifically for spinal disc injury, is going to increase, especially when you're maybe involved in various competitive sports, or just working a daily job that requires you to maybe work in a factory, work at a desk, where you need your abdominals to be strong to help maintain proper posture and kind of provide you with the strength to maintain that proper and good spinal stability. So that was just kind of the last point that I wanted to make with regards to abdominal training. Typically it gets neglected a lot, and we see that with a lot of people within the general population, and also with a lot of athletes just kind of neglecting it and putting it to the end of the workout, which isn't necessarily a good thing, and it should be prioritized more throughout workouts to prevent imbalances or weaknesses from developing. Because if you continuously train and you put those at the end of your workout, like I mentioned, metabolic, neurological fatigue, you won't be able to train them as hard. And also you can mention the psychological factor, or psychological fatigue kind of may set in throughout a workout, where you may feel like just not doing another set at the end of your workout. Maybe you have 3 sets of planks that you're going to do, but then you decide you want to do 2 because you wanted to get out of the gym much quicker, or whatever the reason may be. So that's kind of another factor to also consider. So guys, that was just kind of the premise of the video. I wanted to talk about muscular imbalances and how they can kind of contribute to injuries, but more specifically spinal injuries, spinal disc injuries, and how you can identify these muscle imbalances, and then also how to address them in the weight room. So the important thing is, to kind of recap things, is identify and know that you're creating various muscle imbalances. So once you can identify them and know that you're creating them, then you can kind of develop the proper workout program or strength and conditioning program to kind of address these imbalances as you move forward. And lastly, with regards to athletes, these individuals typically tend to be a very long-term project to kind of address, just because it's hard to address a lot of their imbalances, because some of those imbalances are what makes them efficient at their sport. And you're not going to tell an athlete to stop shooting right-handed, or you're not going to tell them to start shooting left-handed, because that's their dominant side of what makes them good. So that's why a lot of these imbalances typically are very hard to address, and it's more of a long-term project with a lot of these athletes, or elite level athletes. And it's a work in progress, and it's very hard to address at times. But just something I kind of wanted to share with you guys, but more so talking about more general population for this video, that are looking to kind of maintain health and good spinal health specifically, and also good posture as well. So guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys learned something and can kind of take something away from this video and take this information and apply it to yourself if you're someone that's looking to kind of prevent injury and stay healthy, or just overcome an injury as well. And for that, if you guys have any questions, please leave any comments or questions below, and I'll be kind of happy to answer them and get back to your questions or whatnot. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, be sure to subscribe, as I'm always posting different health and fitness tips and recovery and strengthening tips if that's something that you're interested in and enjoy hearing from me specifically. And so for that, guys, I wish you all the best, and take care and have a successful and productive day. I'll see you later.